Introducing your new Review It! Wait, what? Oh my God! Glorious! What is up, everyone? This is Review It. I'm James, the Review It champion. Look at this. He's still passed out on the ground. So he can't take this. So once again, for the third week in a row, we're here to talk about Monday Night Raw. This is actually a pretty good Raw. Not necessarily as bad as last week, but not as good as the first week. So Raw kicked off in a pretty good way. We had an Enzo Big Cass promo against Jericho and Kevin Owens, or Jericho, I guess we could call them now. And this was a high point of Raw. It was actually a really good way to start the show off. I think Enzo and Big Cass, you definitely want to stick with them from here on out. If you want to start the show off, get the crowd going, they are definitely the guys to do it right. And I'm interested to see how this Kevin Owens and Jericho alliance, I guess you could call it, turns out. I'm interested to see how long it goes and whether it turns out to be a good career move for both of them. Hey, you know what hasn't changed since last week? Braun Strowman. He can still kill anyone who gets in that ring. I'm getting kind of tired of this now. It's kind of like we're at the point where this needs to either turn into something much bigger or Braun Strowman will seriously become irrelevant. The show definitely had a few lulls, though. Not to say this was a bad match, but Cesaro versus Sheamus, which was a rematch from last week, I mean, come on. Of course, it is starting to build into something better where Cesaro will start getting title opportunities very soon. However, this match was almost no different from last week. We also saw Titus O'Neil have a rematch against Darren Young, which this time Darren cheated to win. We also had a match between Sasha Banks and Dana Brooke, which lasted, I don't know, about 2 minutes. Now, what was on the line here? Well, if Sasha were to lose to Dana Brooke Monday night, then her match with Charlotte at SummerSlam for the women's title would then become a handicap match with Sasha's title still on the line. However, since she beat Dana Brooke, Dana will now be banned from ringside at SummerSlam. So it really will be a 1v1 between Sasha and Charlotte. And once again, we had a continuation in building up this Seth Rollins-Finn Balor feud, which I'm very excited to see how this match goes. It's a fantasy match. This is one a lot of people are super excited for, but I don't know. I guess I'm not as excited for it as I was on that first episode of Raw. I have to say, this pushing of Roman Reigns into the United States title picture, I like it. I'm getting into this. I like Roman here. I think he's a good fit here. Let's keep him here. Let's get the crowd on his side. And then maybe, a few months down the road, we could possibly put him back in the world title shot. Now, what was supposed to end the night was a discussion between Mick Foley and Daniel Bryan to discuss the repercussions of the Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton thing where they've been breaking into each other's shows. And while this was kind of on track at first, it then turned into Mick Foley being mad at Daniel Bryan over talking smack about Raw on Talking Smack. But then it ended up turning into a Cesaro versus Rusev title match. And while it was a fun match and incredibly predictable of how it would end, I do have to wonder, why put Cesaro here right now? Because as we saw later in the night, Roman actually had people cheering for him. There were people standing up, clapping for Roman as he interrupted Rusev and Lana's wedding celebration. So the logical choice that the bookers decided to make was to then put Cesaro in the opportunity to win the U.S. title. So at SummerSlam, it could have been Cesaro versus Roman Reigns for the U.S. title. Wouldn't that have just undone any progress you just made with Roman? I don't get it. However, Rusev did win and retain his title due to an interruption by Sheamus. So I guess we're still on track for the Rusev-Roman Reigns feud. I was looking at the SummerSlam match card last night, and honestly, this is going to be a really tough one to predict. A lot of these matches are just so awesome in concept, of course, and I really don't know how it's going to go, and that makes it exciting. So we just have to hope that SummerSlam is going to be as great as it seems like it's going to be, and hopefully next week's Raw is going to bring all this to a really good conclusion and get us super pumped for SummerSlam. So that is it for me today, guys. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow night when I review...
My head. Oh.
Excuse me.
I think I have a concussion.
God, some people never learn.